You mentioned South Africa. You were also, you also traveled to Germany, but at one point in your early career on the 90s, you had the opportunity to work in Puerto Rico for Carlos Colon. What do you recall of coming to Puerto Rico on the era that nobody wanted to come to Puerto Rico?
Yeah, it was weird. It was like, for me, I knew I had to make a name for myself outside of Montreal, because obviously I was not getting a break here. Like all the top spots were, like Rick Martel, Dino Bravo, the Rougeaus, and you had some middle guys. And, it was like they wouldn't, I just knew from hearing stories in the locker room that you just got to get on the road to learn the ropes of the business, to learn everything about the business. It was a time where you would hear sometime about psychology in the ring, but nobody would explain to you what it is. You had to be somewhere on the road working full time, and you had to find a place where they'd give you that chance. And so for me, it was the Maritimes, my first territory for Emile Dupré. It was a Grand Prix wrestling. A lot of the guys some guys from Puerto Rico, I believe, like Cuban Assassin was a big name there, but he was finished when I got there. Leo Burke was the main name. Bulldog Bob Brown, Masahiro Chono was there when I was there. Eddie Watts, some guys that the Puerto Rican public fans might know. And then I was watching a Pro Wrestling Illustrated, the magazine, and I'd look at the results, and I'd see all the time Puerto Rico results, Memphis, Tennessee results, Portland, Oregon. So those places, the place that one times I saw Rougeau brothers against Carlos Colon and someone else, and that drew my attention. That's the place I need to go. And I was sending pictures all the time, sending resumes, and they were never calling me back. I would call Victor Jovica because he was the booker. He was the guy on the phone at the time. I was talking to him. It was like, no, we're full. I had no connections. But what I did then, I did work in England. So I took all the papers from England. I was main eventing in England. I sent them to Puerto Rico from England. I sent like my Germany papers, all the articles, sent it to Carlos, all my South African, every tour I did that had a poster or something written in like another language, German, England, whatever. I would send that all the time, every couple of months. And eventually I got back home. Tour was finishing December 30th, 1993, and January 4th, 1993, I was at my apartment, the phone rang, and was like, hey, this is Carlos Colon. And he's talking to me and is asking me if I want to be in Puerto Rico. And I flew the next day or 2 days after.
Awesome story. I'll translate this first. ¿Cómo llega PCO a Puerto Rico en los 90? En aquel momento, él descubre la dura realidad de que para crecer en el negocio tenías que moverte de donde estaba, específicamente de su territorio. Lo hizo Rougeau, lo hizo Dino Bravo y lo hicieron el resto de las personas. Entonces, habían varias alternativas. Tuvo la oportunidad de trabajar en Oregon, tuvo la oportunidad de trabajar en Nashville, tuvo la oportunidad de trabajar en Alemania, en Sudáfrica, en Reino Unido, etcétera, etcétera. Y todos los meses él enviaba a Puerto Rico su información. En aquel momento se enviaban unas fotos, se enviaban unos posters y unos documentos o afiches de donde estaba, y se comunicaba constantemente con Víctor Jovica, y Víctor Jovica le decía, no, estamos llenos. Y estando en Inglaterra haciendo el evento estelar allá, ahí envió unos papeles con todos los tours donde había estado en diferentes idiomas, los posters y todo. Acaba el tour en Inglaterra un 30 de diciembre de 1993, y el 4 de enero del próximo año, ya estando en su apartamento tranquilo, recibe la llamada. Este es Carlos Colon. quieres venir para Puerto Rico y ahí comienza esa travesía de PCO en Puerto Rico. You were, as mentioned, on really, really complicated times in Puerto Rico at that point. You were on the 90s. Boy, it was bloody. It was hard. The fans were extremely passionate or difficult at the same time. What do you recall of your early days, you know, in Puerto Rico? Do you have the opportunity to travel in the island, at least go to the beaches and everything? What do you recall?
Yeah, I was living at Isla Verde. I was living right on the beach. I mean, my hotel was not too far from the beach. Like, I would go to the beach. And Puerto Rico was there even when I got back there in 2005. It was like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off. So it was 4 shows per week. So it was 3 days that, you know, I could train in the morning and just tan. Like, it was really dark. It was really dark. I was really tanned. I liked the weather a lot, especially during the summer. Like, it was a little bit cold in the winter. Like, you couldn't really go to the ocean. I think like January, February. I'm not so sure. I don't think it was that nice. But no, it was, yeah, I think in February, March, and April, I think this when I met Jacques anyways. Like, we just jet ski, and he came in to work for Carlos, and that's how we met. You know, I was already in Puerto Rico working a feud against Invader, Jose Gonzalez, and that was my opponent all the time. That was the main angle. It was me and Jose, and Jacques came in to work with Carlos for just a few weekends. Like, he was not full time like me. I was full time. He came in just for big shows, yeah, that's how we hung out. That's how we became the Quebecers in Puerto Rico. We're both from Montreal. He never heard of me. He was my idol when I was watching TV, like the Rougeos and Martel and Bravo and King Tonga, Steve Strong. What was his name in Puerto Rico? Steve Strong.
Sadistic Steve Strong. What's his name?
Yeah, Sadistic Steve Strong. Yeah, he was in Montreal too. So those guys are like my heroes. And then I was there in Puerto Rico. Jacques came in and I said, "Salut Jacques, comment ça va?" And he was like, "You speak French?" And then he couldn't believe it. And then he was just watching my match, giving me pointers. You should do this, should do that. But in his mind, he was already seeing a tag team because his brother had retired at that time.
Really interesting. I'll translate this. Él conoce a Jacques Rougeau en Puerto Rico. Jacques fue su héroe, toda la familia Rougeau mientras él fue creciendo. Jacques no sabía de él, y estando en Puerto Rico, él vivía en Isla Verde, tenía la playa al lado, se luchaba 4 veces por semana, se luchaba jueves, viernes, sábado y domingo, lunes, martes y miércoles era libre, era free, tenía la playa al frente, en verano era caliente, el clima le gustaba, en invierno el agua del océano era un poquito fría, pero se manejaba por ahí. Y estando en Puerto Rico, conoce a Jacques, y Jacques le habla en francés, como que, no puedo creerlo, habla francés. Y comienzan a hablarle y empieza a estudiar su lucha y empieza a darle pointers. Y así se nace el famoso equipo Los Quebecers en Puerto Rico por primera vez. While being in Puerto Rico, you and Jacques both had the opportunity to get to the next steps in your career, and that's the WWF. What do you recall of your early days in the WWF? How was the backstage ambience, and how was your experience? Because in the 90s, as mentioned, things were really, really different compared to this decade.
Yeah. First, the first thing that happened, Jacques called Vince and had Vince on the phone right away. He said, "I got someone here that you want to look at." So I went for tryouts. Like, I went to Carolina, South Carolina, and North Carolina. So it was 2 shows in 2 nights. And both nights I wrestled Jim Powers. And I I did all right. Just it was the same match both nights. Okay, it was okay. It was nothing special, and I came back. I went there. I came back to Puerto Rico, and I felt like, oh my God, like it's so. They had me. Someone picked me up at the airport with my name. Like okay, with a card. So I went to the limo, brought me to my hotel, which was like a super nice Holiday Inn, like big one, the suite. And then all my transportation was like taken care of to the buildings and things like that. It was just like from WWC, where some showers were just cold water, and my small room at a hotel, like for $35 per day, for my air conditioning was broken all the time, to something super prestigious, the Holiday Inn first class flight, whatever, the canteen and drinks, and Hulk Hogan was there and Vince, and I was so impressed. So I did good, and then I came back to Puerto Rico, which was super tough because it just wrestled in front of 20,000 people, and I had to go back in front of a Sunday at 200 people because Sundays were low, and just hoping for the best. And it took a few months before I got a call back, but I was in touch with the Mountie all the time.
Awesome. I'll translate this. Okay, Jacques Rougeau llama a Vince McMahon y le dice: Vince, tengo a alguien que necesito que veas. Y le muestra el trabajo de, en aquel momento, Jean-Pierre Lafitte, quien era que estaba trabajando, o PCO, y le muestra el trabajo de este caballero. Vince se impresiona y de momento, first class, primera clase, el avión, hotel, Holiday Inn, una suite, otra cosa, luchando frente a 20,000 personas en una lucha de tryout, una lucha que él dice que no fue nada de especial, pero fue su lucha de tryout. Y ahí toca la parte difícil, volver a Puerto Rico, luchar un domingo, que era la casa más floja en aquel momento en Puerto Rico, un cold shower, el aire acondicionado siempre estaba dañado, era como que... pero estuvo varios meses en contacto con WWF mientras estuvo en Puerto Rico trabajando, y así ocurre la oportunidad cuando finalmente The Mountie, en aquel momento, que es Jax, quien le da la llamada y le dice: hora de llegar a trabajar con nosotros. You were signed with the WWF at that point, and you won the tag team titles 3 times in your career, but the first one is a special one. Like, what do you recall the day you won the tag team titles with your idol in the same ring in the main company in the world at that point?
Yeah, it was the Steiner Brothers the first time. It was Monday Night Raw, and it was just crazy. We won the titles, and we could not sleep. Like we just talking about the match all night, like no sleep, but too much adrenaline. It was just crazy rush. I was very, very happy. I felt like all my efforts had been like 8 years, Puerto Rico, Maritime, South Africa, Germany, Germany with René Lessertes, Germany with Otto Vance, 2 different companies, all over, a lot of efforts, a lot of, I'd been to Calgary, everywhere, and some tough times, and then it was paying off one day, like everything paid off, like eventually. I was so happy. It was like crazy happy for a couple of days.
I'll translate this. Él gana los campeonatos mundiales en parejas de WWF en 3 ocasiones, como los Quebecers, con Jean-Pierre Lafitte como su compañero, y con Jacques Rougeau como su compañero. Y lo interesante de esto es que él dice que la primera vez fue contra los Steiner Brothers. Los Steiner Brothers eran los campeones, 1, 2, 3, ganan los Quebecers los títulos y no podían dormir esa noche. Nadie dormía, estaban hablando de la lucha, la adrenalina, la emoción, fue como que otra cosa completamente distinta, y esa sensación de que trabajando en todo el mundo, haciendo esto, y finalmente llega mi momento. Dice que fue muy feliz por varios días en el tiempo que estuvo allí. After that, you made a transition outside of the Quebecers, and you were Jean-Pierre Lafitte for a while on WWF. Why did the Quebecers broke up? Like, who came up with the idea of that and push you as a singles competitor for a while?
Well, we're supposed to get a big push for WrestleMania 10, and it was not the case. So Jacques felt like betrayed, like felt like he was lied to, and he said, I didn't make as much money as I made as a Mountie, and he said to Vince, I'm going to take my retirement match, and it was going to be one show prior to that to build up to the retirement match. So it was 2 times where the one time for the retirement match, we work on top and we sold out the Montreal Forum, 18,500 people. And the time before, it was me and Jacques against the Head Shrinkers, and we did the split where I attacked Jacques to set up the retirement match, and that was a good house too, maybe 13,000, 14,000. I don't know. It's pretty packed. So the deal for Jacques, he wanted to have like $50,000 for 2 shows to retire. And so him and Vince, they agreed on that. And that then I was going to work by myself. And then that's when I suggest to be the pirate Jean-Pierre Lafitte.
Perfect. I'll translate this. El grupo se separa porque ellos iban a tener un push, los Quebecers, en WrestleMania 10. No cumplieron con eso y Jacques se sintió traicionado, se sintió molesto, decepcionado por la empresa y le dice a Vince, voy a retirarme. Y así lo hizo. Antes de su lucha de retiro, trabajaron en Montreal en una arena sumamente especial para ellos, con 18,500 personas, 18,500 people, como él dice, sold out completamente. Antes de eso también trabajaron en una casa con los Head Shrinkers, 13,000 y pico de personas también, over 13,000 people ahí. Casas enormes, hasta que pues Vince y él acceden a una lucha. Mira, yo no estoy ganando la misma cantidad que estaba ganando como de Mountie, es distinto, me siento traicionado. Y acordaron que él iba a trabajar sus últimas 2 luchas de retiro por $50,000, 25,000 y 25,000. Eso fue lo que acordaron, y entonces ahí toca el momento de él hacer la transición al pirata Jean-Pierre Lafitte allí en WWF. After that, you were there for a while. You parted separate ways with the company and joined WCW for a while. What do you recall of your experience with WCW?
I just won. That was not like my place. I felt like I was a WWE guy. I didn't like. I don't know. I felt like I had to reconstruct all my connections. Like I didn't know Eric Bischoff. I didn't know Kevin Sullivan. I didn't know. No, I had to just build everything back up. Everything that it took me 3 years to build the trust with Vince and all that. I was really it was tough for me, WCW, but yeah, we ran the Molson Center in Montreal, and I got to a co-main event with the Big Show, me against the Big Show, and Jacques against Hulk Hogan, and it was one of the me and Jacques promoted that event, so with WCW, but we took charge of everything. So that was one thing that I was proud of, is just to to have everybody on the show, Ric Flair and Hogan, and running the show basically. So that was the greatest experience there. That was a good experience. That's for me, WCW. That was it. No, it was nothing special.
Okay, I'll translate this. Él dice que él sentía que era un WWE guy, ya él no conocía a Eric Bischoff, no conocía a Kevin Sullivan, tenía que construir sus relaciones y sus contactos desde cero, y como que no hubo nada especial. Lo más especial que hubo en su trayectoria por WCW fue que pudo promocionar, o sea, trabajar show junto con Jax en su país, y tener, él luchó contra Big Show, Jax luchó contra Hulk Hogan, tener a Ric Flair en la cartelera, esa parte sí fue especial, pero el resto como que no le encantó su experiencia en WCW. And you also had the opportunity to work on the original version of ECW, also completely different to what you've been used during your whole career. What do you recall of that, short stay with you on ECW?
Yeah, my best, probably one of the not my greatest night, because I had a lot of good nights, but that was one of my favorite one was my first time at the ECW arena, and it was for the world heavyweight title against Just Incredible, and Francine was with Just Incredible, and she attacked me with a kendo stick, and I grabbed her, and I was on the second rope. I grabbed her from the outside of the Quadralito and from the ring, and from the apron up on my shoulders, and passed her through a table, and everybody went crazy. And it was just, the crowd was so into the match, like from beginning to the end. It was just it was one of my good moments, like favorite moment there in ECW, and had a couple matches against Rhino, because I've met Rhino. We were like European Tag Team Championship in CWA for Auto Van, so me and Rhino were friends in ECW. So, but we always been friends. But it was good.
Perfect, I'll translate that. En ECW, su primera lucha por el campeonato mundial ante Just Incredible, acompañado por Francine, y él le hace una movida y el público estalla de emoción. O sea, el público estaba bien metido en la lucha, le gustó su experiencia en la empresa, trabajó con Rhino un periodo de tiempo también con la empresa ECW, que lo conocía de antes, pero ahí fue, vamos a decirlo de esa manera, que se solidificó todo.